Hello everyone, I'm Chester44 and welcome to this Let's Play of Blades of Avernum. Last episode, we finally managed to find Athos again. And we also happened to manage to find the goddess, who was still possessing Athos. We killed the barbarian sliths that were holding her, but sadly, in the end, while Laguerre and Pithos came to help, Laguerre died. Slain and horribly cursed by the chief, Vakos, who was written as if we had seen him before and spoken with him before, but I don't believe we had. So, and also we found out the truth of Althanazaria, or Hathnazriak. It's that they were the same person. Originally Hathnazriak, evil and cruel. But then she saw I can't remember his name, the one who founded the Slith Empire, who taught her the virtues that she learned, and eventually, well, became Althanazaria, changing her views and becoming more good. And it was after Grahoth's death that she fully became Althanazaria. She is a goddess with a dark past then. We just weren't able to help. Well, wait, weren't able to... What the hell am I talking about? I don't know. Anyway, we're back now. She gave us 2 levels of Divine Warrior, wow, and a new spear, which we need to get identified. Now we need to go find Pithos and speak with him. We'll talk to everyone else first. I know Pithos is in there. Let's speak with others. You approach Pithos to talk to him, but he looks too busy. He won't speak with you just now. That wasn't Pithos. Ithok continues reciting while he waits for your next question. What do you think about the goddess? He shakes his head. I don't know what to think. Pithos tells me that Hathnazriak used the faith of the cults of Althanazaria against the homeland sliths, poisoning their cities and silently destroying them. This was a terrible evil. On the other hand, Laguerre believes in her, and without him, I don't know where this expedition could go. And she claims to have reformed. But can a dark goddess really reform? Could Nathagamp simply stop being evil if he chose? I don't know what to think, really. How's Britha? I've told her the whole story. She seems to be taking it pretty well. When she found out that most of us were exiles, she didn't try to kill us, which was about as much as I had hoped for. Give her time and she'll come around. Oh. I'm memorizing part of the Kalthanad. Kalthas is wandering, lost, after speaking with his goddess, and is seeking a new kingdom. It gives me hope to think that once Kalthas was just as directionless and confused as this expedition is right now. Right. You approach Groan to talk to him, but he is too busy preparing to leave. Not now. Always happy to talk to an adventurer, but right now I'm busy. Okay, nothing from Phaedra. Same thing, I think. Athos waits quietly for your next question. What's wrong? She just looks away. The question seems somewhat silly at this point, really. What are you doing? Trying to get better. The barbarians were not very nice to me. This door is locked firmly and will not open. Nothing in there. Ah. Silvax stands silently. Identify my items. What is this spear? Divine Slith Spear. 116 to 160, plus 1 action points or less, and plus 4 to all statistics. You know what? It's definitely better. It does slightly more damage. It gives the same action points. It doesn't have the chance to hit melee, the plus 2 to Blade Master, or the resistance to elements and magic, but the plus 4 to all statistics, good god, that's powerful. I'm gonna hold on to Althala's Pike anyway, but I think we're done. Cass paces as he waits for your next question. What should I do now? Go to Pithos for that information. He is the one who has decided our course of action. Cass shakes his head doubtfully. Talus stands waiting for your next question. What's wrong? Laguerre is dead. Many who have questioned their faith will now lose it. Can we reach Danatha now? I will continue, as will the others, but we must finish this soon or we will fall apart. What are you doing? I'm looking at this shrine one last time. We're going to leave it here when we move on. The goddess, Althanazaria, told us that it was not necessary. So much work for nothing. Cass would probably disapprove of all this. Alright, Pithos, what should I do now? Head south. Britha knows the land from here to Danatha, so we do not need you to scout anymore. You'll stop once more along the way to pitch camp right at the end of our journey along the river. His expression is not a pleasant one. Something has gone wrong. We must deal with it before we finish our journey, but I won't talk about it now. Once we all arrive there, speak to me again and I will give you more information. Okay. Head south. We'll do just that. Well, I don't think... Actually, hold on. I have an idea. We have plenty of coins. Let's see if we have any spells that we can improve. Pre-spells... You know what? Radiant Shield. That, definitely. That is actually worth it. The other spells we don't really use. So... yeah, let's get it to level 5. Powerful as it can be. Mage spells... Actually, yes, level 5, sure. And... I think that could be it. Alright. So I guess south is where we have to go. Most likely down this way. You approach the rapids. According to your instructions, there should be a narrow way through on the west side somewhere. Oh, looks like we found it. Alright. And we have waterfalls. Well, let's save before we go through. Alright, and down we go! You pause here for a moment to let the boats of the expedition pass, just in case any of them have trouble with the waterfalls. They don't, and by the time you are done, everyone has landed on a nice spot on the shore just south of here. I just want to say, the whole thing about these waterfalls being the way even the entire expedition has to travel, even though it's nice for a one-way thing, it just... How big are these waterfalls, exactly? I mean, whenever you have waterfalls, whenever you have people going over the waterfalls, it's always some big dramatic moment, but... Because you never know, there's always a huge chance that things are going to go wrong. In fact, it's expected that things will go wrong. People will fall in the water, boats will end up crashing on the rocks below. It will all be a disaster and there's no way back and people are just relieved that they survived. But now it's just another method of transportation. What the hell happened here, Avernum? Anyway. Ah, I see the camp. I'll just go right to the camp. The expedition has already set up camp here, and all its members have situated themselves carefully. The shrine for the goddess, for Althanazaria, has not been moved here, nor has Laguerre's portable room. Pithos should know what you are to do now. Well, we'll speak with Pithos first. Oh, we found him. Pithos notes you grimly as you enter. He fingers his 2 tiny spear as you approach. Good, you are here. We must speak. How are you feeling? Pithos growls. Not well, for obvious reasons. You know that Laguerre's death has hit everyone hard, so you can understand this. What should I do now? Pithos hisses roughly. The barbarian chief's curse was more effective than we realized. When he died, he cursed Ligeir's soul, preventing it from reaching the proper realm of the land of the dead. Your eyes widen. Yes, I know that it sounds incredible, but it is true. Ligeir's soul is in the clutches of Nathaganth right now, and he is being tortured most foully. We must save him. We cannot move on before we do. To aid us, Althanazaria has spent reality. When you enter the cave on the island in the lake near here, you will reach an otherworldly place, a portal to the land of the dead. You must go through and free Ligeir. What do I do when I get there? Once you enter the land of the dead, you make your way to Nathaganth's kingdom and find Ligeir. You must not overreach yourselves. You need to rescue Ligeir, but you can accomplish very little else there. Fighting Nathaganth in its own home is sure doom. Seeing your skepticism, he adds, believe me, just go in, get Ligeir, and get out of there. Nathaganth is a god, not just a demon, and you do not want any part of that. I know what it is like to stand in the presence of a dark god. At that, you almost ask him to elaborate, but you notice the look on his face, and you think better of it. Well then, we must rescue the soul of the prophet. That's quite a thing that we're going to be doing. Heading into the underworld. Oh, wonderful. Oh. Macron is chatting with Phaedra as you approach. He is neither bothering anyone for an interview, nor attempting to write down or to distribute his feelings. Perhaps the first time since you've known him. He looks calm, but tired. Why aren't you reporting? I have just finished a report on Ligeir's death. In a short while, I'll try to interview the members of the expedition for their thoughts and reactions. But for the time being, I'm taking a break. Okay. Phaedra is talking casually with Macron as you approach. She looks cheerful as usual, but she also looks worn and tired from the stress of the journey and recent events. She can stand and walk around, though, so she must be recovered from childbirth. Where's the baby? I asked Athos to take care of her for a little while. Arcadia is sleeping, I think. Athos, the goddess. How much of a difference is there right now? How are you feeling? Better. My strength is back. I'm tired because of all this travel, but so is everyone else. I'm okay, though. Pythos and Cass were talking about having me get back to work soon. You have a baby to take care of, though. Pythos sits with Phaedra and Macron's baby on her lap. The child doesn't seem to mind its reptilian guardian, sleeping contentedly in her arms. Pythos whispers a greeting as you approach, trying not to disturb the little one. Where's Phaedra? Off for a moment. She asked me to take care of Arcadia while she's gone to talk to Macron. I was happy to. How's the baby? Peaceful right now. I don't want to wake her up, though. Alright, thank you. Oh, that's our tent. Well, good to know. Oh, up this side we go. Oh! Oh, is that Talus? Talus is tinkering with a machine as you approach him. He shifts one part into place, squints at it for a moment, and then shifts back. He says, fiddling with it some more. What is that you're working on? What is that you working on? This hunk of junk? It's an old, broken-down piece of metal that I found in Thanopolin. I'm trying to take it apart to see how it works, but I'm not sure that I'm finding anything. It seems like it was designed by an iguana. Evidently, iguana is a slang slip term for a fool. What do you think of the expedition's chances now? I don't know. Ithic's been talking with that Britha girl, and she says that Danatha is not far away. We just might survive. But I don't really know what the point is now. Ligeir's dead. He's the one who really wanted to get there. I think I'd be just as happy going back to Avernum. No, there is much to be found in the homeland. There is much to be learned here. Yes, I think we'll make it, and the journey will have been worth it. That's why they don't ask me whether we should do something or not. They decide that we ought to, and then they ask me how we can do it. Okay, then. I'm guessing, Cass was deep in thought when you walked in. So deep that he didn't even notice you until you intruded into his line of vision. At which point he jumped, startled. He looks upset about something as well. What are you doing?
I am considering the status of the expedition. We are very near the end of our journey, I think, but we cannot move on just yet. Something is wrong. But you need to speak to Pithos about that. Pithos, he has an idea about what we should do now. The goddess Althanazaria gave us some disturbing information, and you must speak to him about it. I will keep my thoughts to myself.
Have you heard anything from Britha?
Yes, I've spoken with her about the current status of the homeland. She says that the Empire's leadership is lacking in talent, and that our reception may be less warm than we might like. She also says...
He drifts off into thought.
We are bringing the Prophet's body to the homeland, because then he will at least be buried in the land that he sought for his entire life. If only he could have made it, just to be in the land, to see the place. He wanted to be there, you know, in the place, and he would not have been happy anywhere else, no matter what we found there. The land would have been enough.
He drifts off into his own thoughts again. You know, I kind of have a feeling he's probably going to be resurrected through all this. I feel like that's what's going to happen. Britha is reciting a portion of the Calthanad when you approach, and Ithic is listening. You catch only the last part, something about Kalthas's death and the succession thereafter. She smiles shyly as you approach and falls silent. Who are you again?
My name is Britha, and I was born in the Empire of Kalthas.
These words, so simply spoken, are like the tremors of a cavequake, the shaking of the very ground upon which you stand.
I am from Danatha, a city a short distance away. I am a scout, and I was looking for a barbarian army that did not exist. I found a barbarian fort that very much did exist, though, and I got captured.
What do you think of these exiles returning?
I think they'd better be prepared to tell their story about 10,000 times in Danatha, because even if the descendants of this have reformed, they are still the descendants of this.
People still remember this.
Still remember? Yes! We remember the man who began our decline. You see, more than 200 years ago, the Empire of Kalthas still looked strong on the outside. It was larger than we can even imagine. You've been to Vastulis? Vastulis was easily connected to the center then. The journey you've made so far would have taken mere days and almost no effort just over 200 years ago.
So what happened?
Royal intrigue and power struggles gave way to outright civil war. This was the first rebel to attempt to overthrow the heir of Kalthas, as we call our emperor, but he was not the last. This was banished, but the problems remained. Another civil war began just a few years later, and after that, another. Communication lines were disrupted, refugees became bandits, and the barbarian Sliths were born, the demon-worshipping monsters you fought. Not long after that, the barbarians began attacking the weak points of the Empire. The river upon which you've been traveling was a fine target. Communications from Danatha north were disrupted. We lost touch with Vastulis, Thasica, Manikos. Since then, the Empire has been fighting back the barbarians as best it can, but we've had one civil war in my lifetime, and another may be coming soon, with the incompetent king we have now. But you didn't hear that from me.
So the Empire is falling apart.
Yes, but there is hope yet. Perhaps the exiles who began its disruption can now end the chaos. Or maybe you won't be able to do anything. I don't know. We'll see.
Interesting.
At least now we know what happened to the homeland.
Ithic is listening to Britha recite a part of the Calthanad as you approach. He stares at her, rapt, as she moves through the words, her voice rising and falling, rhythmic with the meter. She stops, and Ithic turns to you. What are you doing now?
Watching over the body of the Prophet.
Ithic replies.
The expedition is carrying him to the homeland, where we will bury him, finally at rest where he wanted to be all his life.
What have you learned while talking with Britha?
That the Empire of Kalthas yet lives,
Ithic says, his voice filled with awe.
Britha alone is enough for me to know that. She knows all of the oral traditions of the classical civilization, the Calthanad, the lyric poets, the histories. If only the Gare could have met her. He was gone from camp before we returned, and then he did not come back. But he would have been amazed. Britha is a piece of the homeland. One small piece of the homeland that he could have seen. But the curse of the goddess was true. He was never to see the homeland, any part of it. Even such a minute part as Britha. She is the homeland. She is the civilization, its culture, its stories. And he never knew. That is sad, in its way. Only one is left to speak to. Silthok, as always, is selling his wares. Now he has a small wooden table on which to place them, so you can see the sorts of things that he sells. You get the feeling that he offers different things to you and to other members of the expedition. Where do you get all this stuff? While you're off fighting monsters, I'm combing the surroundings for anything that might be useful. Usually I can scavenge quite a lot. What do you think of recent events? The Gair's death is not good for any of us. Even if everything that he believed had been a lie, which it appears that it was not, his faith and conviction kept everyone else going. Except for me, of course. I'm here for the money. His lips curl into a smile, baring his teeth. Well, he's got various blessed items, which I suppose makes sense considering they're from the goddess. We probably should buy a few elixirs. We've got 5 and 5. Can we improve our mage spells anymore? Or other spells? I don't think we can. I mean, we could, but nothing I want to improve. So I guess we'll leave it as is. Cloud of Blades would actually be pretty good, but we can't improve that. Teach me anything is the same kind of stuff, so not gonna bother. Alright then. Well, we have a little bit of time. We can at least look around a little bit out here. I think, anyway. That leads nowhere. Hey, we got some healing herbs. Quite a few, actually. Nice. Doesn't look like there's anything else over here. That leads further down, but we can't take that path now. Probably goes to Danitha. That's the island we were told about, I think. Yep, island in a small lake. Oh, there's actually a path over there, too. What have we got here? Grey mold? Grey mold. Awesome. Grey mold is definitely a good thing. Now, Fox, if you don't mind, hand that over to Bonnie. Oop, didn't mean to step on there. So what's down this path? Oh! Well, I mean, we could cross over, but I don't think we're going to. So all that leaves is the, cave here. You enter the small cave on the island in the middle of Lake Avernus. The sign on the wall says, Sathon Thenurhum Theforhum Vunitun Pesvathok Thefak Athun Lothamon. That is, we praise Sathos, greatest of all the gods, sheltering his faithful. Interesting. I think we have just enough time to look around in here, unless there's hostile creatures. Sivolas. There's people here. This slith woman's scales glow slightly with an imperial blue light, and her eyes blaze with the fire of the ancient war camps built during the wars for the conquest of Kitalos province. Her breath hisses like the fresh spring water pouring into the open, fiery magma near the Tower of Magi, heating and boiling the air, clouding the entire cave with its residue. Welcome. Welcome to the Temple of the Gods, Sivalas's temple. Welcome to the home of the portal. You realize with a jolt that she is speaking the classical tongue, a dialect 500 years deceased. Who are you? Sivalas, the caretaker of the everlasting high priestess of Posanathos, bringer of light, poetry, and song. Her voice gradually rises to a screech. For aeons I have been the chosen of Posanathos, seized from the empire of Kalthas where I worshipped before. gifted with life and prophecy, keeping safe all the things which the god deems worthy of safekeeping, preserving the traditions.
What are those blue things in the corner?
Ancient, beyond my divinely extended sight, made even before the coming of Kalthas, before the memory of any Slith now living, they were placed here long before my coming by the god himself to keep them safe.
Her tone is steady and even, almost conversational.
From what danger or from which malevolent god he saved them, I cannot see, but these have been preserved from whatever disaster may have awaited them or others.
You make statues.
To honor the gods and heroes, yes.
The portal, can I use it? I need to go to the land of the dead.
Oh yes. Easy it is to descend through the portal. Nights and days stands open the black gate of the underworld. But to retrace your steps, to escape to the free air, this the work, this the labor is. Few whom Sathos loved, or who brought with them great courage and virtue, have crossed the river a second time, returning.
And her tone swoops down like a bird of prey.
Few, yet if you desire this so much, it is possible. Fortify your heart and offer prayers. Bear your weapons in your hands and enter directly the portal. Supplicate the gods and they will bless your quest. Only with them may you proceed.
This device has a whole bunch of switches and buttons. It glows dimly as if active but dormant. Nothing is labeled. What do you do? Fiddle blindly with the controls! A small explosion goes off. Everything shuts down and shifts back to its original position. Nothing else happens. You play with the controls a little bit more, but nothing continues to happen. Apparently you cannot solve the mystery of the crystal pillars here. Yeah, and I wasn't going to ask you guys about it. I could have, but it had nothing to do with anything. There was no point. Well, nothing in any of these. That's just where the she lives. Could there possibly be anything hidden back here? I mean, there could. Or perhaps there is not. But I'll check anyway. The answer is no, there is not. Oh, good to know. Please, if you don't mind, recover the spell energy. Thank you. There's the portal. Well then, this episode has gone on long enough, and I'm going to end it here. I just want to mention, Calandon has mentioned that with Exodus, he effectively considered it to have 5 chapters. The last one pretty much was the entirety of everything that happened at Peninsula Camp. So this is, and that was chapter 4. This is chapter 5, the final chapter. So I have a feeling once we finish getting this back, getting Laguerre's soul back, or saving it, that will be the end of it. I don't know what's going to happen after all this. What more we have to do. We are close to the end. Yeah, a long expansive river that is only lightly inhabited, and then the city of Danitha. At which point your journey is over land until you reach the capital. We're almost done here. I don't know what we're going to find in the land of the dead. I don't know how difficult this is going to be. But that'll be in the next episode. So until then, I am Chester44, that is Fox, Sheik, Bonnie, and Draco. This has been a Blades of Avernum Let's Play, and I shall see you all next time.